Bit of a preface, this episode did have a lot of technical difficulties, so bear with me because it's worth it. Might be some bumps and bruises along the way, but hey, if you're listening to this on your car ride into work or on your beautiful long August walk, you've got nothing but time on your hands. So sit back or stand up, get those feet walking, or get that foot pushing the pedal or the brake. Just stay safe, whatever you choose, and enjoy. This week, I've got Christian Lagasse coming on the podcast. I shouldn't lie. He was definitely supposed to be my guest last week, but instead you were stuck with a cute little Q&A. Moving on, onwards, and quite frankly, upwards. I cannot wait for you all to listen to what Christian has to share, both from his experience in the entertainment industry currently, but also his experience growing up in a pretty cutthroat, quite heartbreaking environment as a younger male dancer. There was so much uncovered and talked about in this episode, and of course, lots of laughs. So hey, are you ready to leave average for Joe? Let's go!
You know, when I built this studio during COVID, I went, I'm going to get some use of it, and podcasts were a great time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, Christian, I would turn on my camera, but I can't because my device won't let me. So
Oh my God, that's all okay. Where are you right now?
I am currently in Alberta, Edmonton,
Nice.
Alberta.
Very nice.
I born and raised here, and then obviously did my travels overseas and moved to
Yep.
Vancouver, and now I am just an absolute gypsy.
Oh, I love that.
How are you doing?
I've been good. It's one of those things where I feel like we always say this and we say this more every year, but how is it August? I'm
I
going,
know.
my birthday was in December and I still keep going, yeah, it's been a month. I'm like, no, it's been almost over a year or half a year, I should say. I'm great at math, as you can see. But no, it's been really good. I've got just some really exciting news recently, some changes in my life, some new things that are coming along and some opportunities that are just insanity that knock on wood will have a major opportunity for the community come this fall. So yeah,
Good.
but no, when you contacted me, I was like, I love what you're doing and I adore you and just what I see online and what people talk about. So when you reached out, I went, this is easy. And also me getting to talk for an hour, fantastic.
Hey, it's funny you mentioned the fact that it's already August, because I was listening to somebody, it's probably a very boring investors podcast this morning,
Okay.
and they mentioned that, who was it? Oh, is it Chobani, the yogurt company, just released the pumpkin spice flavor for the fall? And I
Yep.
was like, there's absolutely no way we're at that point already.
Yeah, I saw a commercial last night for what was it, the new Beetlejuice movie with Jenna Ortega and oh my God, Catherine. Why can I not think of Moira Rose? Whatever her name is, Catherine O'Hara.
Yes.
And I was like, oh dear God, the Halloween commercials are coming. It's spooky and it's back in the time for the fall season. And the spirit of
Exactly.
Halloween has popped up, and then we're at Nightmare Before Christmas, and then it's Christmas, and then again we're all broke.
And then 2025, and yeah, it just
Yeah,
goes on and
survive
on.
to 25. We're almost there. Then the world becomes a
Oh,
better place.
oh my gosh. Well, thank you for taking the time. I'm so excited to hear more about, maybe a little bit, if I dare, dig into your current happenings and what's going on there. But
Of
before we get
course.
into all of that, I would love, and because we don't have a total long history of knowing each
No.
other at all, so this is really a selfish episode for me to get to know you a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to hear about a little bit about your background, where you grew up,
Yeah,
your hobbies and interests, the whole spiel, so that I can get to know you better, but also listeners, because you have a career and a half, and I know that there's going to be so much goodness to come from this episode. So I'm super stoked to have you on.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you for having me. As I always said, I adore anyone in this community that looks to spread joy and love and togetherness. And I think in an industry and in a world that is so divided so often, and sometimes not by our own faults, and other times by the acts of leaders and mentors that just have a very self-centered, twisted sense of, as you said, and I'm making this as a joke, but very selfish natures. So to see someone like yourself, Briggs, that is looking to just find the joy and the light and the happiness in some really tough times, it's easy for me to support someone like yourself and so many members of our community that are doing things like this. So really thank you for
Mm.
having me. But oh gosh, I mean, so background on me, how far do you want to go? So in 1995, it was a wonderful stormy Tuesday night, which is actually true because I keep getting told that my grandmother didn't get to be there because she was stuck on Bowen Island. Uh, hey, the world knew a dark entity was coming, and then I popped out, which is great. So the chiaroscuro, the dark light. Um, to anyone listening, if they know Italian, please butcher me in the comments for how poorly my accent would be on that. But no, so I grew up. I was born in New West, BC, and I grew up in Coquitlam. When I was about 13, 14, I moved out to Langley. So as we call it, grew up in Vancouver because no one could actually afford to grow up in Vancouver. And as I always joke, my dad was the president of a multi-million dollar Christmas ornament company. At least that's what I call it. I'm sure there's a better way to describe that. But I just remember going to showrooms with a lot of tinsel and a lot of Christmas trees. And my mom was a theater choreographer and a voice actor. She had been on The New Adventures of He-Man. She had choreographed and starred in, oh gosh, theater productions all throughout Vancouver and BC. And so I was put into dance when I was 2.5, 3 years old. And as the joke goes, I was put into a ballet class and a tap class. And when in the ballet class, every time classical music came on, I burst into tears. And they went, no way in hell is this child ever going to survive in dance. This is it. But I had a very supportive teacher, and somehow she kept me in it. And by the time I was 8 years old, I was doing, 10 plus hours a week. By the time I was 13, I had joined a theater company. I was doing 20 hours a week, doing full musicals every year, multiple solos, dance routines. But I kept going back to that starting tap class because as the story goes, there was a big circle at the end of the piece, and this girl was supposed to lead us off, and we just endlessly kept looping in circles. And finally, I took charge and I led us off the stage. And that is about the earliest memory I have of my life as being a dancer. But ever since then, dance has been such a joy and part of my life. And I was your studio kid. I was 20, 25 hours a week, 15 routines a year. Summers were not summers. They were every dance workshop and ballroom class and opportunity I could be to not be bored at home and to continue dancing and dancing. Especially because I was homeschooled. Something that a lot of people don't know about me. I was homeschooled all the way from K to 12. So my social life, my where I knew my friends and my people was always dance. And I think no matter whether I've gone through acting and voiceover and music and producing, dance has always rooted me back to that place that I called a home.
Hmm. Did you know at the time that you were in for the long haul?
Oh god. Well, when your mother has spent $10,000 a year. No. No, did I know? Yeah. Yes, and I always knew that I loved dance. What I loved more was performing. What I loved that dance gave me, that acting gave me, that being an idiot doing silly comedy song and dance solos on stage gave me was this ability to make people happy by doing something that I enjoyed. I mean,
Hmm.
in my competitive, competition categories, I was very lucky to grow up against amazing performers. A lot of people that you would probably know as I did, like Sierra Brewerton and Desiree Manning, Jamie Ashworth, and even, growing up just a couple years younger than people like Brittany Good. These were all people that I grew up with. And I'm not going to lie to myself. I could not compete against these women. They were gods. They had the most beautiful technique, were stunning performers, were vicious, passionate artists that just were so talented. But My favorite memories looking back is, I mean, when I did medal, when I did get, second in a category or was lucky enough to get a special award, most of the stuff that I won out on was performance. It was that
Mm,
passion. It was that people noticed that I just lit up when I got on stage. And as much as, yeah, we all have our trophies and we have our medals and we have all of these accolades that we walk away with, all of my favorite memories were from the response I would get from people. And I always put it back to one of the song and dance solos I did when I was very young. I think I was Jafar. It was a weird casting choice, but it was fun and it was weird and it was creepy and it was comical and it was everything I loved about being a performer. And this dad comes back to me, backstage after awards and he grabs my shoulder and I go, ah. I went, consent, please, please. Also, sir, I have no clue who you are. But I just remember he's like, Christian, you don't know me. I think you know my daughter, but he's like, I just wanted to say how much I loved your performance and it was so funny. And I go, oh, thank you so much. And he goes, I don't know how you didn't win and how you didn't get first. And I
wow.
go, that's okay. I'm like, I just love what I do. And he goes, Christian, I have had one of the hardest weeks of my life. And he goes, for the 3 minutes that you were on stage, I got to smile and I
Mm,
got to just enjoy and I got to forget about my day for half a moment. And to me, that was the greatest outcome I could have asked for in a world where it is so tough to exist at times and we are
yes.
all struggling in our own way. I loved the ability that me being a silly little fool on stage or doing a tap dance and being crazy just gave people escape. Just,
Takes you out of your reality, your
yeah,
world that you are living in, and it is magical. It's a mystery to me, and that is such a colorful and illustrative way of, I guess, putting it into words, because it's a feeling that you get as dancers,
yeah,
as performers. And I think it's tricky to put it into words as to why you devote the amount of hours that you do, the behind the scenes work, right? Like it's absolutely ridiculous the work that gets put in, but it is something that is hard to explain to somebody that hasn't experienced it. And you just, I think, did an incredible job of
thank you.
explaining. And I watch now as I judge competitions and festivals and adjudicate. It is those dancers that catch my eye are the ones that, yes, they have the technique and they're strong powerhouses, but above and beyond, they're performers. And it's something that comes from the insides and it's very hard to teach. So I can only imagine the student. And I mean, your energy, even on this podcast, and the work that I've done with you is so vibrant. It's such a gift. You are truly such a unique artist. And so thank you for sharing background into who you were as a young artist. And it sounds like it wasn't a question mark whether you wanted to pursue a career in this industry. I had only imagined that there was definitely harder years or harder months where, you did question some things, some choices, but was it pretty A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like throughout your career, this step, this step, this step, or was there some wavering paths that you had to navigate through?
Beautiful question. Um, so something that it's funny, I was on set about 4 years ago working on a job, and as all of us do as dancers, we're sitting around for 4 hours, and I was, assistant choreographer with people that I idolized and admired, incredible, incredible dancers who are now all over the world, in France, in Florida, in New York, I think now. And we all got talking about our studio upbringing, and for so many of them, they went, "Oh, I went to such and such a studio for the last 12 years of my life, or I went to this studio for a few years as a kid, and then I went to this studio for my grad year." For me, um, I think from the time I was 3 to 18, I moved 7 different studios. And some of those were offshoot. I had, say, a studio for tap exams or a studio that focused on musical theater, or hip hop. But I had to move studios. I don't think I was at a studio longer than 4 years. Um, And that was because of the abuse that I faced as a young male dancer. And that is not to say that it is not, there's not abuse to young females, young non binary, of every variation of the spectrum. But being especially in early 2000s, there weren't. Hello? And I think we have lost Briggs. And we will be back after this commercial break. I feel like I should sing a song. Hello, and she's back. Welcome to the podcast live with Briggs.
Do you want to know what happened?
What did you do?
No, I didn't do anything. The device just overheated.
You are joking.
I love technology so much.
If it makes you feel any better, I was on a call with a production meeting in LA, and my phone overheated because I had to take the call from my car. So what I did was I turned the AC on and I sat my phone on the AC vents for an hour and a half. I am sorry to all of my people out there who care about the environment. I destroyed it, but I got that job. So you know what? If 2 trees died in the making, I got to choreograph in LA. So I am sorry. It's so awful.
God, it was worth it. It was worth it, dare I say it.
Oh gosh.
Thank you for your patience. My listeners, I don't know if you're going to get the good stuff that we had a beautiful introduction, but I imagine it's recorded and saved. I'm hoping, I'm
It does
crossing.
say that I'm still 16 minutes in, so we will hope.
Okay, it's somewhere then.
If not, then we'll
somewhere.
just do podcast round 2. We'll go for the later years, and then we'll do the, the pre-biography.
That's what I'm thinking. So this tech fail happened once before. This is episode 13, I believe, and it was with Jeff Mortensen. So
Hi, Jeff.
it was ridiculous. Okay, count my blessings. It could be worse, and technology has definitely developed over the years that I have the ability to do a podcast. Which, if I can do a podcast, then anyone and their dog can do a podcast. So I'm grateful for technology. Just when it fails, it really does leave a little bit of a blip there. So I apologize.
No, you are all good. So to continue on what I was saying, because we were talking about this idea of, was it very A, B, C, D, E, F, G, Q,
Yes.
Z, Z, American, Canadian, figure it out. Was it always so? As I said, I moved quite a few dance studios. Some of those were side studios, but for my kind of main studios, I never stayed around more than 4 years because of abuse. And I'm not going to shy away from that conversation, because as much as the world is becoming a more understanding and supportive place for members of the LGBTQIA community, of the neurodivergent community, that are BIPOC, that are male, female, non-binary, and so many other amazing things and people that we are lucky to know, and how they identify and how they view, and their histories and their cultures and their stories and the things that make them them. It still is a hard place. And for me, I'm not going to lie, I was 15 when I started getting messages from my dance group recommending that I commit suicide. And I know, as dark as that is to our viewers, I'm not alone in this story. You would be surprised the amount of artists and dancers that you meet that were, you know, physically hurt or emotionally abused, that were manipulated, that were taken advantage of, and not just students. This is still predominant in our film industry to this day, and not just film, the world in general. So when you asked me if I had doubts, I never doubted that I loved what I did. And honestly, Briggs, at some times that was the only thing that kept me in it. When you are a young boy in a studio of 300 plus women, which, as much as every young man that I was around at the time would make jokes that that must be the lottery ticket to life, which is also severely problematic. And I wish we could get away from these very disgusting old school morals of what that means. It was hard. It was hard to not have male teachers or male role models or people you could talk to. And I had some of the most amazing friends, but it also made you a target. And I was bullied a lot. I was made fun of and attacked and left out. And when I would come home at night after 5 hours of dance in tears telling to my mom, why do people have to be so mean? Why can't people just get along? Why can't we all just love and support one another? And she would say to me, "Are you done?" And through tears and a lot of chocolate bars, I'd say no, because dance and being on stage was the one place in the world where I felt everything was right. It was the one place that no matter how hard it got, it was home to me. And that to me was what kept me going, and is what's kept me going through an industry where you do face rejection and change. And we had COVID and the film strikes. It was this thing of, I can't imagine my life without it. I can't imagine waking up in the morning and not throwing on a song and doing a silly little dance, or listening to music and choreographing a full theatrical stage number that may never come to life, or going to a set and playing characters. So my life had to adapt always, because I also didn't want to live the same day twice. I wanted to be the dancer who could act, who could sing, who could do voiceover, who could choreograph, who could just be creative. If I'm lucky enough on this earth to entertain and to make people happy by doing something that also makes me and brings me so much joy, I had to be adaptable. This industry, you and I could do the exact same thing, and even if we were the same person, which I am nowhere as cool as Briggs, I'm just gonna say that to all the listeners listening at home, but we could do the exact same thing. I could give you the guidebook, point for point, how I acted, responded, and chose every single step of my career, and it wouldn't work for you. Just like what you would work for you wouldn't work for me, just what would work
Yes.
for so many of our friends that have gone off to cruise lines and theme parks, film
Yes.
sets. It's not an industry where you get a degree and go, "This is the answer, I have a job." It goes, "Are you crazy enough? Are
Yes.
you passionate enough? And are you adaptive enough to know that if everything in the world changes tomorrow, am I ready to pick myself up and learn it all from square one and go, do I still love what I do?" And if the
Oh my
answer is
gosh.
yes.
Yes, it's 100% nailed it. At least because, like you said, not everyone is going to experience the same things. Not every uh, insight or advice that I give is going to land the same to every listener. However, what you just said is true not only to this industry, but I think to any industry that involves some sort of risk taking, some sort of creative juices. It's a collaborative environment. You have to be adaptable. I like the way that you're using that word. And you also have to be vulnerable. And I think to go back to, how you started to share with listeners your story, and that um, traumatic experience of yours that I know you're not isolated to, because there is other people in this industry that have had that happen but are also currently undergoing situations like that. Know that you're not alone, but also your vulnerability has opened up doors that I can only imagine. I don't want to put words in your mouth, that you never would have ever dreamed of
Truly.
walking into. So being vulnerable has been something that takes courage, takes guts. And I think there's also, maybe you can weigh in on this.
Mhm.
Actually, my dad used to always say, like, be vulnerable, take risks, uh, take those leaps of faith, but still have that rope where when you're in the windstorm, when you're hiking up that mountain, whatever it is, you still have some sort of rope that you are gripping onto that can guide you, that can, and I think by rope, he means values, morals, ethics, whatever doesn't feel right in your heart, in your soul, probably isn't for you. And I know that that might seem so far-fetched, so abstract, but it's the truth. For me, because I've navigated so many different things up into this point in my life, the one thing that I know has been my North Star, that has been that rope that I can grip onto when times are really unclear, is, does this feel right in my heart? Is this aligning well with my values, my morals, and my ethics? Sorry for that very crazy driver.
Welcome to Vancouver.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I think it's important that we do share, and like you just emphasized, that this isn't a guidebook that we can give to listeners or to anyone interested in pursuing a career that will give you answers to line you up on a successful career. But these are at least recommendations, insights into what we have done thus far, because I'm still navigating these uncharted territories. I'm still, my tummy turns every single day because I'm constantly not sure about choices that I make, but you just keep making choices that align well with your values. And it sounds like you were at least given a set of individuals, role models, if I dare, or figures in your life that could sway you into directions, not even, I I don't think, and I don't want to put words into your mouth again, but I think when you have somebody that cares for you, loves for you, wants to see you succeed, that is a blessing. And it sounds like you had some people in your life. Would you agree or no?
Oh, fully. And by the way, can I go back for a second? If you haven't interviewed your dad on this podcast, I expect a full episode because that man, just off that comment alone, I'm like, I'll listen to the podcast just to hear that. And you were saying a rope, and I don't know why. This is, again, crazy creative mind. I went, my rope's more like a really overused red vine that's been sitting in the back of a 7-Eleven for 3 years. Because sometimes it's really tasty and other times you fall down the cliff, but you still get up. Um, but role models, yes. I have been very, very lucky to have met a lot of amazing people on my journey. Some of those people have only been in for a short period of time. Others have been figures in my life since I was very young. I mean, I think to a lot of us in Canada, we would agree with what I'm about to say, but one of my biggest role models throughout my entire life has been Kelly Kono. So to anyone at home
Yes,
who doesn't know
yes,
who Kelly Kono
yes.
is, y'all better get to Google now. But
Yes,
Kelly
Miss Kelly.
Kono is, and she would kill me for saying this, but is a Canadian dance legend. This woman took the universe by storm. She's danced with Janet, she's danced with Michael, she's choreographed, she's acted in film and TV, and I was very lucky to meet Kelly through the competition circuit early on in my life, and she always was exactly what you and I are talking about, Briggs. She is someone who led with nothing but love and joy, and when that woman walked into a room, you could not help but smile. And for whatever crazy reason, she took a chance to mentor me early on in my career. I was lucky enough to work at Triple Threat, not as an assistant, but we we folded clothing in the back of like a storage facility, eating Costco French fries with a bunch of dancers. And yes, that is a true story.
Yes,
And
merchandise
to
department.
this day, one of my favorite things. Oh, I got to see all the early Triple Threats. So if your pants were badly folded, you can blame me. But we did that, and I was lucky enough to work at Kelly Kono's studio over on Bowen Island, which, shout out, if you're ever on Bowen Island, please make your way out. It is a beautiful facility. Also, Bowen Island is just a dreamscape of a city to live in. And then I got to work as her assistant choreographer for many years in the industry on things like CW's Legends of Tomorrow, and through that we got contracts for BMW and projects aside. Kelly Kono, to anyone who hasn't met her, that woman instills values in you like no one else can because she's not doing it out of fear. She's not doing it out of jadedness or hatred or if you don't learn this, you're going to mess up. She has always led by example. She's always stepped into a room and gone, we're here to, yes, do the work, be passionate, be dedicated, be hardworking, be talented and work for your talent, work for the things you want. But she just did it in a way that if I can do half of what that woman has done in her career, not credit-wise, but for the effect that she has had on communities more than I ever think she'll admit, and I hope someday that she realizes, and I really hope she does. She has paved the way for so many of us that have been lucky enough to be in her presence, whether through Triple Threat Dance Convention alongside Dory Kono and Carolina Lancaster, or The Next Step, Summer Intensives, or just working on set with her. That has been one of the most constant people in my life, and I will never be able to tell her how grateful I am because she is the reason that I'm a choreographer. Yes, I loved choreographing for studios, but she gave me my start and continued and has to this day continued to guide me. And when I look at what I've achieved, I say this out of pure fact. I would not be where I am today without her. And that is something that I don't know how else to say thank you.
Wow, that is the definition, a pure gold example of why I think mentoring is so huge. Having a mentor, but then also when you are in a position to mentor,
Yeah.
do it. Step out of your way to help those that might not even realize they need it, but that you can just offer a little bit of guidance
Mm,
because you don't realize the impact you will have. And I imagine because Kelly has been a part of so many dancers' lives that she, I hope, like you said, realizes it, but it is truly transformative, the impact that a mentor can have. And it's not, I'm not saying a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday mentorship program.
yeah.
I'm just talking about a random phone call, a check-in
Yeah.
once a year, whatever it is. Like, just get out of your way. If you feel like you have something to share, get out of your own way, step out
Yeah.
of your own programming for a second and offer some guidance to somebody that's a youth or that's looking to pursue something, because trust me when I say they probably would just absolutely buckle at the knees at the thought of you helping them, but they don't have the courage to reach
Mhm.
out and ask for the help because they're still so fresh and nervous. And I know, and I feel that genuinely because I was there.
Yeah. And, to some degree, Briggs, I'm curious if you feel the same. I think I'm still there. I don't
Yeah.
know if we're ever any artist that I look up to. Yes, we're all kind of crazy. Yes, we all could probably use a little bit more self-confidence in ourselves. It's why we're artists. But it's I don't think I can't see anything that I could achieve in life that would make me go, "I'm done," or "I've learned it
Mm.
all," or "There isn't something." I have, a creative mentor now in my life, based out of Florida, Stanley Fisher, shout out. I'm just again, I hope this is okay in this podcast. I am the guy who loves
Yes.
throwing every name in the universe just so that people out there get a little love, a little shout out. That man was brought into my life a year and a half ago and has been one of the best mentors I could ever ask for, from just mindset to creative mastery to personal
Mm.
health and business development. The reason I say this is when I met him, I was at a point in my life where when I would take a workshop, I've always been the guy to take 1,000 notes. I used to do it in books, and then I would go back and read the books and couldn't read my penmanship and went, "Hey, Google Keep. This is what we're changing to." And I was at a point, Briggs, honestly, COVID had gone on for a while, and I kept doing workshop after workshop, and I went, to some degree, I'm just hearing the same thing over and over. To some
Mm.
degree, I'm getting to this point where I'm going, I know this or I know a variation of it. And I did a 45-minute meeting with this man and I wrote 7 pages of notes.
No
And I went,
way.
okay, and now we're back to it. Now we're back to one. Now, not the one, maybe we'll say 1.2.
Yep.
But a great example, he played me a speech from Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right. I cannot do Matthew McConaughey's
Yes.
voice, but in my
Yes.
wildest dreams, I sound like that man. Also, I look like that man. Also, you get that point. I just want to be Matthew McConaughey or Ryan Reynolds. Both very good-looking men. Um, I had a point in this. My point is Matthew McConaughey gave a speech, I believe it was at the Oscars many years ago, just the talking about how he kept himself inspired. And I am not going to try and do this because I'm going to butcher this, but he gives a speech about talking about there's always the man I look up to, there's always the man I am, and there's always the man I look forward to, some variation of that. And I love this idea of, yes, being proud of who I am because 10 years ago, looking at myself, I would have wanted to be the man, hopefully the man that I am now, and hopefully I even surpassed that young kid's version of what 2024 would look like. But I'm also looking up to whether for you that is God, whether to you that is fate, destiny, spirituality, a concept, an ideology, and then something to look forward to. And it is that chase. It is that thing that I know that I'm never going to get to that. And not in a self demeaning or deprecating of I'm never going to be good enough, but just to know that I can always be a little bit kinder. I can always be a little bit more genuine. I can always be a little bit more passionate. I can always do that little extra work. And I like that. Not because I think that we shouldn't ever be happy, because we need to be happy in every moment we can, but also knowing that it doesn't stop. And that's so, as you said, Briggs, I challenge to anyone who's crazy enough to make it to this part of the conversation and still be listening to my voice, I challenge you as a mentor. I really challenge, because one of the things that I've had a lot of people come up to me and say is, well, I'm worried. I'm worried that, what if I give away my secret? What if I say something and that person, takes my opportunity, or what if they're better than me? And I go, that's the point. The
I
point is
think that is so, and not to cut you off, but that
no,
just
please.
like literally sparked something in me because there was a black and white line in the last probably 3 years of my life where
Mm,
I went from I'm building myself like as a dancer, I'm
yep,
building myself, I'm trying to make my way, I'm trying to book these jobs, I'm trying to get the projects,
yep,
trying to color my
something
resume,
blessed.
and you know what I mean? And then it hit me, it got to a point where I was so energized to share what I had learned, and I realized that it was that moment in my life where I went, "Oh, I actually feel proud of the work I've done and confident enough that I can now share my learnings." And I'm always learning. I never graduate, as no one does, from
Yep.
being a student, but there does get to a point where if you are genuinely feeling confident in your abilities
Mhm.
and proud of the work that you've done, you don't question whether sharing your lessons will um, allow somebody to take over your journey, because you're on a journey that is so far different, far
Yeah.
removed from anyone else's, that the thought of sharing your lessons with somebody else and having that backlash in any way is just, it's a non-existent thought. And I used to have that thought, like you said, because some
Mhm.
people will say, well, I don't want to share my secret recipe, I don't want to share those things. But that's because you still have some, I think, internal work that might need to be done. And trust me, that's good, that's fine, that is okay. But there will come a time where you'll start to realize that your journey is so unique, what you offer to this world is so unique, that you offering your lessons learned to somebody else will not threaten. In fact, it'll
Ooh, I like
what?
this English word of the day.
Yeah, maybe not though. Your journey, and I think you're so right in saying that. Like there is no
Yeah.
harm in it.
I wanna add to what you said, because yes, you said it so beautifully, Briggs, that my 2 keys that I offer to anyone out there who's listening and has that little bit of doubt or that little bit of hesitation, 2 things to this. 1, you said it. I am not you and you are not me. And no matter, even if they looked like us, talked like us, thought like us, danced like us, moved like us, acted like us, they are still not me. And my thing is always, if I am sharing with someone and I am fearful, let's just call that word what it is. If I am fearful that me sharing this is going to risk because you might take my job, that's not a them problem. That's a me. If anything, that should make me feel so energized and driven to go, awesome. Now I want to make myself better, because now I want to see what you do with that and how I can learn from you and how we can grow this industry, which is the second point. We need to make this industry a better place. I am not, and I'm going to say this clearly, I am not coming at anyone when I say this, but point for point, we know that the dance industry in a lot of the world, especially the young studios, have a reputation for being very competitive, very cutthroat. Yes, we are aware that poaching is real. It happens in the world. Yes, we know that stealing has happened. Looked on Facebook right now, there are choreographers finding that their work has been plagiarized in other countries. Yes, we understand that there are people out there with less than good intentions that do bad things, but you're not going to win and you're not going to beat them by becoming more jaded and more fearful and more closed off. The only way we win is when we come together so much that the overpowering of our community is there to support one another. So if that is me on this podcast or someone out there teaching a class, someone taking a 20-minute coffee chat after a class they teach at a dance studio, that's just my belief. We need to get out of this mindset that the world is just a scary place that's going to destroy us. Yes, it's hard. Yes, we're going through a tough time, but you're not going to win with hate. You're not going to beat them by doing that. Let them do what they do and build your community up so that we, and I wish I could remember who said this to me, Nassif Saul, thank you, be undeniable. Be so undeniable that it doesn't matter what anyone else will do themselves or with your knowledge. Be undeniable in yourself and in your art.
Wow, profound, and nothing more to say, because that right there, Christian, is the reason why I wanted you on this podcast, because I know that you have such a genuine intention, um, and the best interests at heart of anyone that you work with.
Thank you.
And so I might, as an individual, as a human being, respect you above and beyond that I think you'll ever know. So thank you for being somebody in my life and so many other lives that look up to, for a reminder of authenticity and genuine intent, because that can be hard to find in this industry, like you just pointed out. So not to reiterate anything that you just said, just to simply be there to scream in the background to say yes, yes, yes.
Thank you,
I
Liz.
think
That
that
means a lot.
yes, no, 100%. And I think that there's something to say about, I remember vividly growing up having that competitive edge, having that just need to dominate, the need to not have people like me, but just to dominate. It was just
Yep.
in my blood. And I know that I'm not the only one out there with that. However, I will say, if somebody in my life along the way taught me at an earlier age that I should probably make more friends growing up
Yes.
in the studio environment, I would give my left arm for that, because I didn't learn how to use true, genuine connection and relationship building skills until it was almost forced upon me when I was 19, 20, 21.
Wow.
Because those aren't things that you're taught in the studio environment. You are taught to land on the podium or whatever it is to
Yep.
get that medal,
Shout out to the
above and
Olympics
beyond.
right now. Watch on CBC, Gem. No.
Yes, yes. It's true. And so I do wish that there was more figures like yourself at an earlier stage in like artists' lives,
Yeah.
because you think you should approach the industry at a certain way when you start training at, 6 years old all the way up till
Yeah.
18. And then boom, reality hits, and it's like, oh, you don't actually have relationship skills. You don't have great communication. Oh, you're not actually friendly in the audition room. Oh, okay. Well, no thanks,
Yeah.
because I'm booking dancers for a 3-month contract, and I,
Yep.
I want to actually enjoy the process.
Oh, so true. And I want to say something to that because I think a couple people in my life have gone, "You must have such good teachers early on that taught you this." And I hate to say it, and I'm not going to call any names out because I believe that they are good people who just did not know better. But damn, no, I learned out of opposition. So as I said, I'm going to say this, and please, no one shut off the phone for the next 2 minutes because out of context, this next comment is going to sound awful. I am not condoning bullying of any type, but damn did it help me learn to be a good person. And what I mean by that is when I was in dance studios in a group where I was bullied or made fun of or beaten up or verbally attacked, when I got to competition, I lit up because I was like, well, if you are not going to be nice people, I'm just going to go talk to every single person. And also, I've always been the crazy kid who drove my father insane because I would go to Zellers. Shout out to anyone in Canada who remembers what Zellers is. And I would just walk up to random strangers. I don't know how I'm still alive, just to point out. But I just loved talking to people. So when I would get to competition, I would go say hi to everyone and meet everyone. And I would be backstage cheering for every other team and and clapping backstage and congratulating people and seeing how it lit them up, and I loved that. And I will never forget one of my teachers grabbing me by the arm and just like, why are you doing that? That's the enemy. And I remember in my mind going, dear God, I'm 12. This is not war. I know that that medal is pretty and we paid $65 at this competition for that solo. It's not worth it. And so, again, I'm not saying that bullying is what made me, but to a degree, it really taught me that I'm like, I don't care what you all think of me. I want to make friends. And the
Right.
coolest thing in my life, as you said, is I was very, very lucky to learn that by myself, by my mom, by a few other people in my life that I'm sure have an effect that I didn't even clue in that early on. I was like, "Just be nice." You
Yeah.
don't have to give them your life, you don't have to give them the last 3 digits of your Social Security or insurance number, it's not that degree, but just what are you losing at being at competition? And I will never forget going back and listening, to our teachers go on about, oh, this studio. And if you, oh, this is so me calling myself out. If I dig back on Facebook enough, I know when things happened because I would write these essays on Facebook about just the injustices I saw. And I was writing this at 13 and 15 and 17. And it's so funny to look back and go, it didn't matter. These competitions don't matter. If anything competition was for me, it was a chance to get on stage and do what I love. It was a chance to get feedback to help me grow. And it was a chance to meet the people that loved the same things that I did. And yes, some of those dancers were very, 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 very much of the I am going to be a rock cat. And I went badass. I've had friends do it. It's incredible. I've also watched friends kick their high heels into the audience. And that will forever be one of my favorite memories of a high heel going up, going down, and all you heard from a dad in the front row was, "Ah!" Um, and this is a true story, and, Jamie, if you're out there, I'm so sorry that I'm telling your story, but it's so good. Not any Jamie that will know, we'll just leave last name nameless, Jamie Smith, great last name. Um, yeah, it's so true, it's like, I know I'm probably a little crazy on the vein of like everyone should be friends. And no, everyone is not going to be. There are people in this industry that I don't care to spend my time with. There are people that I've worked with that I will smile, I will nod, we can be civil. At the very base, can we not be civil? At the very base, can we not
Mhm.
just go to set
Mhm.
and go, you and I don't need to talk on Facebook tonight? Wow, I'm dating myself. We don't need to talk on TikTok. Can you talk on Okay, let's just move past socials. You don't need to go for coffee every weekend, but if we show up to set, at least we don't have to make each other's lives harder than they already are. And
Mm.
that to me
Mm.
means more. And you said it beautifully. If we're going to be on set 15 hours a day, or if we're going to be on tour for 4 months, dear God, let me not want to tear your hair out every night because of that.
100%.
There are some of the best dancers in the city that I don't care to hire. And it's not because they're not great dancers. I know they will walk on set and kill it. It's just not the energy that I wanna live around, and if my energy is going to be influenced by the people that I'm around, let me be lucky enough to be in the light of people that inspire me.
Oh, Christian, your words, they're absolute like glass. Just it
Oh,
is such a
I didn't
treat.
think I was that pale, come
No,
on.
it is such a treat to have a talented artist, yet balanced with such high intellectual abilities. It is wonderful to see because you are a leader in this industry. You are doing some tremendous work. And on that note, I would love for you to give a little shout out to yourself for some of the
Oh,
latest work that you have been up to. Please, if I can dig a little bit, I will. So
oh, you're
share,
so sweet.
please share.
Oh gosh. Okay, things in my life and work and things. So, anyone who follows me on Instagram sees me reshare. And again, shout out Brianna English. She's gonna kill me for that. That's fine. Shout out Brianna English, owner and director and creator and badass of a company called Platform on Camera. I've been very lucky since basically COVID to work with that company, which is a career and creative development program for young artists looking to be creatives, not just dancers, but who have dreams of directing, producing, acting, voiceover. And that has been one of the greatest gifts and continues to be. And I'm so excited to continue to watch that company thrive and just grow because I truly believe it's obviously I'm there, so I'm biased, but it is a company I love and I've seen it do so many great things. We have people that are signed. We have a dancer in Greece right now on contract. We have people in Asia. We have people doing national commercials and tours. And there's been just so many cool things that have come out of building exactly, Briggs, what you and I are talking about, this group of like-minded creative people that are there without ego to just support one another and work together. And we have a film that Brianna, myself, and an incredible choreographer named Ziana DeMello choreographed with Jonathan Groff. It is called A Nice Indian Boy, and Jonathan Groff, to anyone who doesn't know who that is, y'all go watch Hamilton right now and watch that king kill it on stage. So we got to choreograph for Jonathan Groff, Sarna Garg, Karan Soni, directed by Rashawn Sethi, and it is hopefully going to have some exciting news about when we will be able to see that, but it premiered at South by Southwest, and that was a dream. I mean, to South by Southwest is one of the most incredible film festivals in the US, and I wish I could have been there, but we will be back. Outside of that, I have a film in development currently with my creative partner, AJ Garces, who's the most incredible director, writer. See, I can't do this without shouting out other people. This is an issue, but
No, that is actually such a talent that I am so mesmerized by. This entire recording, I have been blown away. Me just
you're so sweet.
jotting down.
Yeah. Hey, go check him out. AJ Garces, VFX owner, also, or one of the co-owners of RCS Studios, which is an incredible VFX company. Point being, AJ developed a script called Iron Flower, which we shot the proof of concept on the largest virtual production stage in North America. We were absolutely gifted, and that is now going into development meetings, and we hope to have a green light for later this fall. If not into very early next year. And I am very, very excited about that. To have been an associate producer, which is something that is still newer to my universe. And when it goes to greenlight, not if, there may be some dancing involved. So to my dancers, stay tuned and get some high heels. Just a heads up, just a piece of advice. We
But make
also
sure they
have
stay on your feet so they don't go up and then down and then smack you in the
exactly.
head.
Don't hit the guy in the front row. Oh dear God, we could get into competition stories for hours. Outside of that, AJ and I have a film, actually a short film called Shelby that we developed almost over a year ago now. That is crazy, which is the story of a young woman trapped in a dying spacecraft who, in her last 7 minutes of oxygen, ends up finding a robot whose only purpose is to help her accept her death. And I was very, very privileged to produce that alongside Crawford Filmworks, alongside an amazing cast and crew of over 50 people. And I also got to play Shelby, the little robot. And it's very fun. And I
Oh
got to live out
my
my
gosh.
Wally meets sarcastic robot meets idiot, insert myself. And we've been in post-production because it is a lot of CG elements when you're doing an original robot, but we hope to have that finalized in the next few months, and then that will be going hopefully to festival. Knock on wood, if you got it close by, we will be in festival run for next year. So that has been really unique. Honor
Christian, can
Society
I
online
pause?
on
I just
please.
want to ask, because you take on so many roles, what has been your, I guess, most recent role, would you say, on set within the TV film world?
Ooh, TV film. I was on a series called Novelette is Trying, which I don't believe is out in publication, but I should not be killed for saying that. So, that's fine. So that will be coming out later, TBD for deets. Before that, I mean, COVID has definitely made things quieter. I was on New Tales of the Borderlands, which was Timmy, the other sarcastic robot, Mr. Strongborg, which lives on Steam, Switch, Xbox, PS5, I think. But I think the last TV I did Riverdale last year, but that is an honest point. In the past year with the strike and with the shifts, it has been quieter, and I have been very, very lucky to continue. I've got a couple voiceover series that are coming to Crave later this year that I can't speak about yet, but very excited to release of just projects. And it's been tough. It has been a quieter year. I know all of us as dancers and actors have felt it. It has been definitely a very struggling year for a lot of people where they've had to reassess and reevaluate and look at other opportunities and not leave the industry. But until we get back to those bigger projects, those longer developments, what are we going to do in the meantime? What are the ways we can stay active and learning and still close by and have the opportunities to audition? So working on Riverdale with Cole Sprouse last year was wonderful. Very, very cool. We got to do a Halloween party in the middle of, I want to say it was March, April. So it's very fun to throw on a Halloween costume and dance the night away. But yeah, I think that was the last major one. I was going to say Honor Society is still going strong. I think Paramount Plus still exists. Paramount just got bought out by Skydance Studios. Shout out, please hire myself and Briggs. And Briggs has lost her computer, so now you get me. You see, y'all, this is why you don't give me a microphone and say talk, because you will get a 12-hour podcast. Sponsored by Cranberry Juice, the drink.
It glitched out, and then it said internal error, and then booted me out of it. I've just had no
Oh, I'm
luck today
so
for some
sorry.
reason. No, that's
You're
okay.
all good.
I'm just trying to make sure that it's being recorded, which it looks like it is. So then I will be able to tack on this next chunk to the
Beautiful. But
episode.
just to close off on what I was going to say, the last thing I want to shout out, just because it's a movie that means a lot to me and to this day is still one of my favorite projects. We did a feature film for Awesomeness TV and Paramount, which is on Paramount Plus. I believe it is still there, called Honor Society, directed by Aron Zegman. And just was a really, really cool project that also featured a lot of local Canadian actors, dancers, Jason Sakaki, Zoe Christine Dowd, Kelsey Moema, Avery Conrad, shout out, phenomenal dance team, and so many other wonderful people that worked on it, like Ryan Ma, Beta Chen, Melina Rooney's, Mark Samuels. Oh my God, I'm sure I'm missing names in that, but just that is a movie that means a lot to me and was led by the incredible Angari Rice and so many other performers. And yeah, so if you want to go watch something that means something to me and also watch me be a creepy little nerd, it is a great film to go watch.
The list goes on. I like my jaw. I'm just picking it up off the floor. That's all. Um, it is truly an honor to be in the same time and space with you as I watch you just really flourish and be a guiding light to so many. You pick people up, and that is a rare thing to see. You trudge through uncharted territory, and in the meantime, you clear paths for other people, and you continue to do it. And it's something that I've always admired. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on here, because I knew what you would have to say, to offer, to share would be of utmost value. So
Thank you,
I
Briggs. That
am
means a
enamored
lot.
by you, and I will continue to watch you succeed beyond measure. And if there is any last sort of wishes that you have for anyone that is, I guess, curious to explore more of their artistic passion in this industry, do you have anything that you want to share? Any last regards? Anything like that?
No, don't end the call. This is too fun. I have to go
I
back and
know.
do editing work when you stop this. Although my clients will be very happy to get their demos that I'm slightly behind on. So to anyone listening on this call, Greer, Milena, Chanel, Britt, so many people. I love you all. Don't hate me. I owe you dinner. Um, any Oh God, if I could go back in time to the start of my career and wish something, Oh, I don't want to cry and I don't want to get weepy. And I'm such an actor and I'm so
Hmm.
overtired because I don't sleep more than 3 hours a night right now, which to anyone knowing me will know that is true. And I'm also caffeine intolerant. And yes, this is me behind time to think of something really smart and funny to say. But no, if I could wish anything for anyone, it is find a group of people that love you, not
Mm.
that love what you can give them, not that love you when you're winning, not that love you because they know that you are the path to their opportunity, not that love you because they think that it's cool to be around you, not that love you because they are desperate for you or they're just keeping you around because it feels like the cool thing and the right thing to do. Find a group of people, whether that is a single soul, whether that is your entire family, whether that is the chosen family in your life, whether that is a TikToker that you talk with on Instagram once a year and it just makes you happy, whether that is a class or a community or a moment in time that allows you to be yourself. Find a group of people that will love you at your highest and lowest because in an industry where every day is something different, you need people around you that you can shut off for a moment, cry, laugh, watch a movie, send a stupid joke on Instagram, and that you know that no matter what, that they are a constant in an industry that will never be constant. Find people that love
Oh,
you the way that you deserve to be loved.
Christian, thank you from the bottom of my heart for, again, that was a selfish episode because all I wanted to do was just learn from you. Learn from you until the day is long. I always do and I always will. It was a absolute pleasure to chat with you today and just reconnect because I know we had a brief moment of work together. It was a pleasure, it was a joy, and I hope to do so again. I wish nothing but joy for yourself. You are such a joy and a bright light to others that I do truly hope you feel that in return. So thank you.
Thank you, Briggs. It really I I think some people, and it's fair, I think some people will always wonder whether I mean exactly what I say, and I think we all do that. We're all a little scared. We're all a little worried. We're all, wondering how good someone is at just, saying the right thing in the right moment. But I hope and I hope all of my friends know that I have never in my life felt more lucky than to anyone who has put their trust in me to be on a project or on a coffee chat or on a podcast like this. I don't care what people think or imagine I am because of an accolade or because of something that someone said. I am still, like all of us, an artist who doubts themselves, who has hard days, who has a lot of struggles and a lot of battles that some they share with the world and others that they keep close to home. But moments like this, when someone will take, as you said earlier, the confidence to reach out and go, I might be crazy to ask this, but would you just spend a little time or talk with me or come on this crazy adventure? I feel so lucky to have had the career that I've had because somewhere that younger version of me wondered whether it was true. Somewhere the version that woke up this morning still wonders whether it's true. But little moments like this really do go a long way. So Briggs, thank you to from me and to everyone that you've interviewed just for sharing your time. And I know the amount of energy and nerve and confidence and insanity and computer blowups and damages to overheating your device that it takes to do something like this. So I hope you also know whether we're all good enough at saying it, but you are loved and appreciated just as much as the love and appreciation you are giving people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. You get those demos done,
We'll
and
get there.
and we'll be in touch. I know it in my heart of hearts. We will be our paths will cross again in the near future.
Thank you, my friend. And to
Okay.
everyone at home, go eat a chocolate bar. That's my best advice. Support Bernie's chocolate.
I hope you all gained just as much knowledge and insights from that episode as I did. It was a tremendous experience for myself, and I feel so much closer to Christian than I was before, and I cannot wait to see what his future entails. You can reach me at briggs.and.co over on Instagram. You can also send me an email at admin, admin, at briggsandco.ca. This thing's getting serious, y'all. You are in for a treat next week. I've got a wicked episode for you lined up, so I hope you tune back in. Same time next week. See you there.